All right, welcome to the Entrepreneur Insider Secrets podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about something a little bit different. We're not going to be talking about business strategy or different things related to your business. We're going to look at this from a little bit more of a personal perspective, a little bit more of a you as an entrepreneur perspective than the business itself, because this is very, very important. One of the things I know with 100% clarity and certainty is that if you're going to be successful in your business, you're going to need to take care of yourself. You're going to need to be in a good place, because the ceiling to your business is always you. You are always the ceiling. You are always the fuel, and you're always the ceiling. You're the one who's going to allow you to get to your dreams, but you're also the one who's going to stand in your way and stop you from achieving your dreams. So what we're going to talk about today is the entrepreneur's energy plan. How taking care of yourself is going to lead towards growing your business. And again, this is something that's very, very important, because if you're not in a good place, if you're not healthy, if you're not well, if you're not in a good place, guess what happens? Your business isn't going to go either. You are, if you're in bed sick and you're not able to take care of yourself, then guess what? Nothing's getting done. So this is a critical part. This is a critical part of our journey as entrepreneurs, and helping us achieve the goals that we have for ourselves, the things that we're trying to achieve. So let's talk about this a little bit today, because without energy, without that energy, without that physical health and strength, we are going to lack creativity. We're going to lack productivity. We're going to lack resilience to get through problems. And that's going to lead us to eventually a lot of struggle and a lot of, we're going to burn out, and the business is going to stall, and we're going to hit roadblocks all the time. Because again, whenever, one of the things that we all know is if you don't feel well, if physically you're not in a good place, if you're at a spot where you're like, yeah, I can't go anymore. I can't do this anymore. I don't feel good. Everything else stops. Your health and your mental and emotional wellness is the baseline. It's the foundation for your ability to succeed. So we have to take care of that. We have to take care of those types of things for ourselves, and we have to make that a priority, or the business is going to run into a wall, plain and simple. Now, let's talk about the first aspect of the energy plan, or of your wellness, and that is physical energy. Now, physical energy is pretty self-evident. It is the energy that you have when you get up. It's fueled by your nutrition. Like, what are you putting into your body? And we all know that the things that you put into your body are, your inputs are going to determine your outputs. So if you are not eating well, and I know a lot of people who are not getting nearly enough protein in their diet, and as a result, their bodies are not, they're getting sick a lot. They're not staying well. They're not having the energy that they need. They feel tired all the time. They're not feeling the strength that they need to keep going, and they get knocked off a lot. They're constantly tired. They're constantly sick, not feeling well. They're just not there. Well, a lot of this is, you got to think about this very simply, is if you put low grade, really bad quality gasoline in your car, eventually we all know what's going to happen. The car is going to start running poorly. It may hang in there for a while, but eventually the poor quality, low grade gasoline is going to cause your car to malfunction. It's going to cause it to start to break down. It's going to cause it to have issues. And that's just not going to end well. So you know that you can't do that. You can't put the garbage in. Well, the same thing is true for ourselves. If we are not eating healthy food, if we are not eating things that are giving us energy, things that are giving us nutrition. Look, we all make mistakes along the way. We all have those moments where, we eat a little too much of the sweets or we have a little too much to drink, but we also all know how we feel after that. If you sit down and, I have a weakness for licorice type stuff. That's really where my sweet tooth has always fallen in that world. And I got to watch myself, because once I get started down that path, I can get sucked in and I can start eating mindlessly. But then a few hours later or a couple hours later, I know how I feel. I just crash, because the sugar high just crashed and I'm taking a nap, or I'm just completely non-productive. I'm not getting anything done. So I really, really have to watch it, because my inputs are going to equal my outputs. Same thing if you drink too much. The next morning, guess what happens? You do not feel like working, and you're not going to be able to get things done, and your business is going to slow, and it's going to be delayed, and things aren't going to get taken care of. So there's the nutritional side, which you have to know. What are good, healthy foods? Are you getting protein? Are you eating vegetables? Are you eating some fruit? Are you getting some grains? And those types of things need to be in there, and you need to be counting things, and you need to be watching the inputs that are there. Are you eating healthy? And if you are, suddenly on a daily basis, you're a lot more consistent. You're a lot able to move forward, to take on things, to handle things, and do the things that you need. Secondly, you have the level of the physical activity. Here's the thing, is a few years ago, I was not doing a good job of exercising. I was not in a place where I was spending all day, every day working on the business, all day, every day working on the things related to the business. And as a result, I was not in a good place. I was running low on energy. I felt weak. I was getting sick a lot. And I knew that this was going to end in a health problem. I could feel it. I could feel it in my body that this is going to end poorly. This is going to end in a situation that where I don't want to be. I'm not going to end. I'm not going to be happy with how this ends. It felt like I was driving a bus and the bus was headed for a cliff. And that was going to eventually turn into something that was going to be very, very bad. So I went to the gym, and I knew I needed the support. I knew I needed the accountability. So I got a trainer to work with me. And, now I'm in a much, much different place. I was at that point in my life, probably the weakest I had ever been. I did not have a lot of strength. As a result, I was getting sick a decent amount. I was struggling. I could just feel, I didn't feel well. I didn't feel like I was in a good place. And now I feel 100% different. I am, in the gym 3 times a week, pretty much every week, working out, doing hard workouts, exercising, building strength. And that has led to a whole different outcome. I'm now in a place where I feel significantly better. I haven't been sick in probably 2+ years. At all, not even a cold. I have knocked that down. I went through a phase there where I would get maybe sick once a year, and now again it's been over 2 years and I haven't been sick a single time, because I'm making sure I'm eating better, I'm getting better nutrition, I'm making sure I'm exercising, I'm giving my body the things that it needs to be able to continue to function. I'm giving my body the things that it needs to be able to do the job. I'm putting the inputs into my body that need to be there for the outputs to happen. And again, you can make a lot of gains in your business by simply being able to show up consistently on a daily basis. Businesses, and many times, are won simply because someone just keeps showing up and keeps going and keeps doing the thing. And eventually it takes and it works. It's instead of the hot spurts and then we quit for a while, another hot spurt, then we quit for a while. No, we are actively going out and we are doing the things that we need to do to succeed. And these are things, we're doing that because we have the strength to do it, because we have the health to do it. And so that is a huge, huge step. There's a huge first part of this journey, is making sure that physically You're giving yourself the food that you need to run the engine that is your body, and you're getting your body exercise so that it has the strength to do the things. So it has the strength to fight off being sick. It has the strength to handle the problems that other people are facing physically. Because I have so many friends that they're having so many health problems, and we're in a small group at our church, and it is just a long laundry list of one physical ailment after another. And I'm sitting there going, I haven't had any of that, none. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to keep going on my path because I know what I'm doing is working. I know what I'm doing is making a difference. Secondly, I want to talk about mental energy. This is something as well that is incredibly important. When you are in a situation where you are constantly bombarded with so much stimulus, when you have so many things coming at you from so many angles, so many different ways, this is demanding your attention. Now that's demanding your attention. Now you got this, now you got that, now it's this, now it's that. It's exhausting. It absolutely exhausts you when there are so many decisions that have to be made, when there are so many things going on all at the same time, when you have so many projects that you're trying to juggle and manage all at the same time. It is mentally exhausting. It will drive you absolutely into the ground. And those moments, you sit there and go, I can't go anymore. My brain just starts shutting down because it's so worn out. It is just exhausted trying to spin all these plates all the time. So one of the things you need to do is you need to look at your life and you need to say, how many of these things are truly important? How many of these plates that I have spinning? How many of these projects that I have going? How many of these commitments that I have are the right commitments for me? Because when you hit that point, you realize that if I scaled back in the volume of what I'm doing and the volume of my commitments, I could actually have a lot more energy to knock out the things I need to do. I could have a lot more focus, a lot more attention, a lot more ability to get things done because I'm exhausted all the time. And I have to just, you know how it is when you become so tired and exhausted, you have to walk away for a while. You absolutely have to walk away because you got nothing left. You're just exhausted. And you're staring at the screen trying to work on something, and it's just, your brain is mush. You got nothing. You're just staring at things, and you're coming up with no answers, no creativity, no solutions because you're absolutely exhausted, absolutely fried. So all of this becomes an issue. So how do you do this? You need to organize and streamline your life. One of the things that I've told people a lot is, that people say like, hey, I was talking to a client this week and they were talking about how they wanted to be able to have creative time built into their life so that they can work on creative projects and get things done. And that is one of those things when you're in a creative space, when you're in a mental space. I mean, when you're in that creative mental space, you can't just flip that on and off with a switch. You get to that place and you're kind of in the flow, and now you're creating things. Oh, this can go here, that can go there, this can work like this can come together like these things would fit together very nicely. And all of a sudden you're seeing it and you're feeling it and you're working it and you get in this flow of things. And then you can't just say, okay, flip on, flip off. So you need to just give yourself a window of time to be able to do it. And this is one of the things I recommended for her was like, okay, I think if this is something that needs to be a priority for you in your business and what you're doing for you as a person, you need to like schedule one day every 2 weeks to just do this. Just to be able to do that, just to be able to exercise that freedom, to be able to exercise that ability. Because when you do that, then you have the freedom. You don't have I have to have another call in an hour. I have to respond to this email. No, you just shut everything else off, and all of your mental energy is focused on one thing. When you do that, it becomes much more easy to work on the thing that you're trying to accomplish. And so when you block out things and when you time block things, so you say like, okay, from 9 o'clock to noon today, I'm only going to work on this. And that also means like, hey, if some people are starting to email you about this, that, or the other thing, or they're calling you about stuff, they don't get answered this morning. They get answered this afternoon. Take some time this afternoon to catch up on emails, catch up on voice messages. That's fine. You don't need to respond in that moment. If you are focused on, I'm going to spend the next 3 hours doing this, I don't want the noise or the distractions of all these other things, because you know as well as I do what ends up happening is you're working on this one thing and you're making good progress, and you see your phone ring and it's from somebody and you're like, oh no, now what's that about? And suddenly your focus, your ability to get this thing done is damaged. You can't focus. You can't get there because your brain is like, oh no, I wonder what they said. I wonder what they wanted. I wonder what it is. And you're drawn away, or you get an email or this. You need to be able to block your time better than that. You need to be able to just say, nope, from 9 to 12, this is it. And if you have an email that you know I need to respond to, that's great. I'll respond to it once I'm done with this. I have 3 hours that I'm going to work on this. That's it. That's all I'm doing. And what that does is it frees up your mental energy. It frees up your mind to focus on one thing. And it's like it loosens up your mental faculties, is the only way I can really think to say it. It reduces the fatigue. It blocks out all the other noise. It stops all those things and says, okay, I'm not saying those things aren't important. I'm not saying those things aren't things that need to be addressed. But right now, the priority is this. This is what I'm going to do for the next couple of hours, unless it's a true emergency. Somebody is really, really, in need of something, like somebody needs to go to the hospital, those types of things. Unless it's something like that, I'm here. Because, there's an old saying that I actually really like. People come to you all the time with their emergencies. But what are their emergencies? In many ways, many times, their emergencies are simply their poor planning. They didn't plan well. They didn't think through things well. And now they have a mess on their hands. And they're yelling at you or calling to you because now I need to get this fixed right now. Well, you knew about this for 3 weeks and you didn't do it. And now you have a mess. Your poor planning does not constitute my emergency. I'm sorry. But I don't need to let you take my life down that path. I don't need to let you destroy what it is that I've done. What I'm doing. You can wait. This is not your issues. And sometimes people just want, and I get this a lot, people want to reach out to me, and I know other people as well, other coaches as well. And they'll be like, I need you to show me how to do this. And I'm like, have you heard of Google? Have you heard of ChatGPT? Have you spent time asking them? Spend time searching it on Google. Spend time going on ChatGPT and ask them, how do I do this thing? Well, no. Then why are you messaging me? These are tools that are readily available to you. These are tools that are right at everyone's fingertips. All you got to do, you can watch a 5-minute video that shows you exactly how to do it. Search for it on YouTube. Instead of making me stop everything that I'm doing, stopping my progress, stopping my ability to be able to get things done so that I can deal with your emergency. This is how you get distracted. This is how your mental energy gets drained, because you let yourself, you let everyone else dictate your calendar. So one of the things that's going to help you immensely in this area is for you to do time blocking and just say, okay, from this hour to this hour, it's dedicated to this. And I'm not acknowledging that these other things don't need to be addressed as well, but I will get to them after I'm done. And unless there's, the house is burning down, all of you can wait a couple hours. You will live. You will be fine. Your poor planning does not constitute my emergency. You can hang in there. It will be okay. You will live. I don't need to bend myself into a pretzel and destroy my productivity and destroy my own life to satisfy all of your demands. So that will help a lot in keeping your mental energy where it needs to be. That will help a lot in keeping you focused if you don't allow distractions to rule your world. If you don't allow 14 demands to command your attention all at the same time, but if you can reduce your focus to one thing at a time. Some of you are a little better and can handle a couple of things at a time. If you're someone like me, I need to focus on one thing at a time. That's how my brain works. That's how I function. I do really well. Like if you give me 8 things that need to be done and you try and get me to work on all 8 at once, it's a disaster. But if you say, okay, here's 8 things that need to be done, work on them in sequential order, 1 through 8, I'll knock them out, no problem. Because I can do one thing at a time, focus on one project at a time, one task at a time, and I knock it out and I get it done. Because my brain can focus on the task at hand and the responsibility that I have in that moment. Thirdly, the third thing I'd like to talk about in all of this is the emotional and spiritual energy that you have. This is something that we all battle as well. Stress, our own doubts, our own insecurities, our own internal issues that we work with, that we sit there and say, you know what, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I have what it takes. I don't know if I can achieve this. I don't know if I can reach this goal. I don't know if I'm good enough. And the stress of being able to get there, the stress of all the things that need to be handled, done. And we can let that overwhelm us. We can let discouragement overwhelm us. I've said this multiple times in the past. The number one thing that causes an entrepreneur to quit and to give up on their business isn't a failed business plan. It isn't a lot of things that you would think it would be. More often than not, it's discouragement. That's the thing that causes most people to fail, is they try a few things and they didn't work as well as they wanted, or things didn't, just take off like a rocket ship. So they quit. And there's a lot of things here that, you have to look at it and say, well, I don't want to look foolish. I don't want to look stupid out here running around doing this thing that isn't taking off. And so you give up. You become discouraged. You throw in the towel. You give up. You say, well, I guess it's not meant to be. Well, let me talk a little bit about that. Let me talk a little bit about the meant to be stuff in the world. If you know in your heart, and this is something that I talk about all the time with our clients, you need to get clear on what it is that you feel like you're supposed to do in your life. What is it that you're good at? What do you have gifts in? What are you skilled at? What are the things that you're really, really adept at handling, that people naturally come to you and say, hey, hey, David, can you help me with this? And you start to notice there's a consistency here. There's a flow, and you enjoy doing that work. You enjoy helping people in these areas. And people are coming to you because they recognize your ability. They recognize your talent. They recognize your skill. And as a result, they're looking at you going, wow, you're great at this. And when you do that work, it just flows out of you naturally. It's something that you spent a lot of time working on. You developed skill in it. You spend a lot of time building yourself up in this area, and you're just good at it. You have an aptitude for it. You have a skill for it. And when you align that and it connects with your heart, when it connects to that place within inside of you where you kind of have that moment where you go, you know what? I think this is why I'm here. I think this is why I am on planet Earth. This is the work that I am called to do. This is the work that I feel led to do. This is the work that I feel passionate about inside. This is the work that when I do it, I just feel like, yes, this connects with me. This connects with what I feel is important, with my values, with my beliefs, with the core of who I am. For me, that mission is helping entrepreneurs take their message and build a business around it so they can impact the lives of others. That's what gives me joy. That's what gives me purpose. That's what gives my life meaning, to be able to do those things. Those are the things that cause me to get up in the morning and say, yep, keep going, keep going. And you see, when you are in alignment in that area of your life, when you're in alignment with your calling, when you're in alignment with what it is your gifting is, like your talents, your abilities, your aptitudes, when those things are in alignment, you're much less likely to let the discouragement win. You're much less likely to give up and let the emotional stress, to let the self-doubt kick in and take over and win the game and cause you to walk away. Because too often what I see people who think, well, I got a good business idea. We could do this and I could make money at it. But here's the reality is, anytime you start a business, it's not one of these flip a switch and it immediately works. Rarely does that happen. More often than not, what ends up happening is you're going to have a struggle period. You're going to have a period in here where you need to learn. You need to grow. You need to gain more skill at running a business. You need to gain more aptitude for how to do these things. You need to gain more knowledge and experience doing these things. And it's not that you're not good at it. It's simply that you haven't done it before. This is new ground that you're breaking. You're going through this process and you're learning how to do things that you haven't learned how to do before. And that's every time in our lives when we do that, when we're asked to do something, to learn a new skill, to learn how to do a new role, it takes time. And so what inevitably happens is there's going to be some failure in there. There's going to be some balls that get dropped. There's going to be some mistakes along the way. But if you're doing it for something that you feel emotionally, spiritually aligned to, you're going to keep going, because you're like, you know what? It's okay. It didn't work out the first time or the third time or the 10th time, but I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I have that conviction. I have that feeling inside of me, that certainty inside of me that I know this is what I'm supposed to do. This is my mission. This is my calling. This is why I'm here. This is why I get up every morning and keep going. That pushes through the failures. That pushes through the discouragement. So what about you? Are you in alignment emotionally, spiritually, with your purpose and calling? What it is that you know in your heart, this is what I was meant to do. When you look at your skills, your aptitudes, your interests, your passions, your abilities, do all of those converge in a certain place in your life? If so, it's probably where you're meant to be. It's probably the space in life that you're meant to work, because that's where the emotional and spiritual energy align. That's where things all come together. And when you're in that space, and when you have that alignment, the stress still is there, but you're able to weather it much better, because you know you're on the path. And you know if you stay on this path, eventually it's going to work. Eventually you're going to get there. So check yourself in that area. Are you aligned? Or are you just chasing another idea? Every time I see people quit, it's because they're doing something that they weren't really meant to do. They thought they had a good business idea. They didn't really care about it. They just wanted to make money. Okay. And then when it didn't happen immediately, they weren't passionate enough about it. They weren't committed to it enough. So they gave up and they walked away and they were done. That's a surefire way to not have the emotional and spiritual energy to continue to fight through the problems. So I hope these three things are helpful to you. I hope these three things cause you to think a little bit about your own life. Think about the things that you're doing. Are you taking care of yourself physically? Are you protecting your mental energy by not letting everyone else control your calendar, not letting everyone else dictate your day? And are you in alignment? Are you in alignment with who you really are and what you're meant to do? If you do those things, you will be much better positioned to succeed in your life. Because as I said at the beginning, if you're not well physically, mentally, spiritually, it's hard to get motivated to keep going every day. It's hard to stay in the game. It's hard to keep it up because you don't have it. You don't have the energy. So I want you to think about those things. And if you need help, as always, we're here at Design Launch Grow to help you. If you'd like to just have a conversation and find out more about who we are, how we could potentially help you, fill out an application and just have a call with us. We would love to learn more about you, your business, and what you're all about. Go to designlaunchgrow.com and just fill out an application, and we would love to chat with you. Otherwise, have an amazing day, and I will talk to you again very soon.